Okay, I didn't know if I was recording or not, had to check. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull up this next one. Now, this is a joint cost allocation. I don't think you will have a whole lot of this, but basically what we're doing here in this joint cost allocation was we're determining a weighted use of the allocation. Okay, so this happens to be in reference to the examples is flowers, and we've got the tulips, lilies, and daisies. And what happens in this, there's a couple ways we can do this. Um, we can do it using the physical units method, and you can see that happening right here. So this is the answer in reference to 10 tulips, 20 lilies, and 20 daisies. So we can look at what the proportion is. And then you take that joint cost and then you allocate it out. Or we can make things complicated because sometimes we like to do that. And what we're doing here is we're weighing a factor, and the factor happens to be in reference to watering. So here, this comes from the statement of the amount of water each of the product needs. So there's the weight factor 1 and 3. And so what we're doing is we're taking the quantity, multiplying it by the weight factor, and we get this amount right here. That's the water weighted factor. And then we determine the percentage, and then we allocate it based on that. So I just wanted to point that out in case that you ever came across that. That is what is happening here. And that's in reference to joint cost. Now, and so I've done this one already. I think I have another one in there too. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is, this is called the direct method. And so I'm going to erase this here, and I'm going to do it for you. So okay, we've got this. Here's the totals for the 4 departments. This is my driver, square feet, number of employees. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to take this janitorial service and the cafeteria service, these costs, and I need to move them over into these direct departments. Okay. So with the direct method, we're not going to consider moving, allocating this back and forth. Thank God. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine what is my percentage. Okay. So I'm looking up here, the square feet. So I've already told you which department is using which driver. Square feet is janitorial and number of employees is cafeteria. So here I can see these two right here have a square foot combined of 5,000. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go, so my square foot, I'm going to allocate out 310,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go plus, I think I need to do this double, 1,000 plus 4,000. Oh, shoot. Oh, no, 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 no. No. Let me do it where I want to do it. I know I'm missing a component. You got to talk to your computer and tell it to stop. Okay. That's what I want. So up here in my formula, I've got D13, and then I'm going to divide that by D13 plus E13. Okay, and so I'm going to finish my parentheses, and then I'm going to multiply that by this amount here, but I'm also going to make this a negative. Okay. And I made it a negative because this is a negative. 2 negatives make a positive. I'm going to do the same thing, same type of formula. So I got to make sure I get my parentheses in there right. This divided by 1,000 plus 4,000 times this amount. Make sure that's a negative. I am old school. So notice everything is beautiful and correct right here. And this one has no ending balance. I'm old school. When I was taught Excel, you always had to start any of your functions with a plus. So here we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. But nowadays you can use equal signs too. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start that. So 30 employees divided by 30 employees plus 10 employees. And you could have done this in your head too, I know. Times this amount. I forgot the ending parentheses, I don't care. Okay, you can see this is my double check to make sure I get everything in here correct. Negative this times this 10 divided by parentheses 10 plus 30. There we go. So this is my direct method. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this again. And we're going to use the sequential method. And so it's very similar to the direct method, except what we're going to do is we are going to, in fact, I'm going to erase all of that. One of these will not allocate out to the other one. So since janitorial is my first one, I am going to allocate a portion of the cafeteria to the janitorial, which is probably a good thing, right? This times, okay, this divided by this plus this plus this. Okay. Keep forgetting that last one. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to do something just for fun. I'm going to see if I can get it to do exactly what I want it to do. I always want it to stay in B. So I'm going to anchor that formula there. I'm going to anchor this formula or that cell or that cell because I am being very lazy right now. And so what I've done is I've told this formula to always go to this cell and then always come up. So you can see up here, my D22 is changed. It's no longer C22, and that one's going to be E. But what it's divided by is always going to be those entries right there. So now I've allocated out everything to from the janitorial service to the cafeteria, cutting, and assembly. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to allocate out. And so the total cost now is $324. I'm going to allocate from the cafeteria to the cutting and the assembly department. And so again, very similar. And so I'm going to go this. So that's going to be number of employees divided by, remember that I put two of those in here. This plus this. Okay. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to anchor just because I feel like it. I mean, I can, obviously I'm having a blast right here with all my, I need to take out one of these. Okay, it doesn't want me to. Okay, there we go. That's the sequential method. Now I'm going to put the recording on pause and I'm going to go find my other file that talks about the reciprocal method, which I do not like doing. I have an Excel spreadsheet for my students because it's a very complex math equation. Because I've got to figure out how to allocate these two back and forth to each other and then allocate to the cutting and assembly. So let me put that on pause and I'll go find it. Okay, so I found it. Now, you already have this in Excel on here. So, oh my gosh, this drives me nuts. So basically what you have to do is you've got to figure out what percentage, and so that's what's happening here. There's my percentages for support department 1, support department 2. And so I'm coming over here and here's my cost. And then I need to multiply certain things by factors. And it's just a pain in the butt. I've got some rounding over here. And then in the end, I end up allocating from support department 2 to support department 1. And there's my total. And here's my other total there. It just becomes a crazy, crazy mess because this 191 plus 169, this is coming from support department 1. This 382 is coming from support department 2, added to the regular cost, and then it allocates out. And oh my gosh, it's a mess. I don't like doing this because, like I said, you have to do a number of formula calculations and moving your factors or your variables back and forth across the equal sign multiple times in order to get this to work out. So you got to like say, okay, well, this one is 105% of this, and then you got to put that into parentheses back into the equation, and oh, it's a mess. I like the other ones better because they're more simple. So anyhow, you do have this available to you if you want to look at it. And if you want to look at my formulas, you're more than welcome to look at my formulas and then go, oh, good Lord, she wasn't joking. And so that is the end of this video.